three-car twosome to kick off round one featured Raj Hamrick in the Mountain Music Mustang 2 in lane 1. And in lane 2, it's Shirl Greer's Unchained Lightning. Both are top competitors. The Unchained Lightning bolts through the traps to take the win with a 7.06. Raj got a bad start, veered off the track, and quickly shut her down. Here's two more great ones. Mr. and Mrs. Soul, driven by D. Simmons in lane 1, going against the Revell Snowman, fired up by Dale Emery in lane 2. Camaro versus Vega. Uh-oh, Emery red-lighted. He blazes out a fantastic run, but to no avail. He's out, and D. Simmons takes an easy 112-mile-an-hour ride to the win. Here's Richard Tharp in the Burkhart Plymouth Satellite. He'll take on Donnie Plunkett in the Mischief Maker. Plunkett driving the Gremlin in lane 1. Tharp, the Satellite, in lane 2. They're staged. A 1,750 horsepower Hemi engine carries Tharp through the traps with a winning ET of 7.48 to Plunkett's 7.65. The fourth funny car run in round 1 features the Wilson Franklin Greer Chevy Monza with Paul Smith aboard. Paul is up against Jake Crimmins in Revell's Jungle Jim. He's driving a Chrysler-powered Vega with an iron block. It takes Jake Crimmins 6.8 seconds to run the quarter and knock Paul Smith out of round 2. The Vega clocked just a shade over 206 miles per hour. Like a man from Mars is Denny Lockaby driving the Witch's Brew. He'll take on the Blue Max, a Dallas, Texas entry driven by Ray Beadle. The burnouts are deafening. The Blue Max roars down lane 2 and through the traps first with a winning ET of 7.45. And Lockaby's engine explodes just as he crosses the finish line. Dennis is all right, but his crew will have a lot of work on the car. This next pair-off features another Chrysler-powered Vega with Don Casto driving. And in lane 2, Denny Savage in the famous Chi-Town Hustler. The Hustler from Chicago makes a beautiful run with a winning ET of 6.94. Denny Savage moves to round 2, and he could be tough. Here's one we've been waiting for. Charlie Lee in the Hartzell Brothers Vega, and Kenny Safford driving Mr. Norm's Supercharger, another Chicago entry. Both cars are well prepared. The drivers are top professionals. Oh, no. Charlie Lee's Vega developed trouble on the burnout. He loses fire at the start line, and a very disheartened crew watch Kenny Safford take off on a solo run to put Mr. Norm's Dodge in round 2. The last funny car runoff in round 1 highlighted Tom Hoover's Showtime, another Chevy Vega, and a little Mustang 2 called the Eastern Raider, piloted by Dale Puldy. Will go in lane 1, Puldy in lane 2, Vega versus Mustang. Here it is. Tom Hoover takes the win in the Vega with an ET of 6.87. Next, it's the Pro Stock quarterfinals. Four runs with 8 cars ready for the Pro Stocker quarterfinals. Dyno Don Nicholson's Ford Mustang will take over lane 1, with Bobby Ewell in a Dodge Colt called Billy the Kid, starting in lane 2. Don Nicholson wins the closest run of the day with an 8.99 to 9 seconds flat, 1/100th of a second. Richie Zool puts his Camaro in lane 1. Lee Edwards with the General in lane 2. Richie wins another close one with an ET of 9.05. Edwards racked up a 9:15. The third run pits Lamar Walden in the Barry Setzer car, starting in lane 1, against Roy Hill, a Petty engineered Plymouth Duster, in lane 2. Walden's Vega breaks down on the start line, and Roy Hill makes an easy, lonesome run. He'll move into the semis. This last run in round 2 was a Ford-Plymouth duel. Clyde Hodges Plymouth in lane 1, with Bob Glidden driving a Mustang in lane 2. Glidden slides the Mustang through the traps with an ET of 8.88 to beat the Plymouth and go on to the next round. Suddenly, it was that time again. As the awesome sound of the top fuelers echoed in the staging area, 8 cars were being brought up for this second round eliminations. There will be only 4 runs as the field narrows down to the final. Jim Hundley burns out the Starliner in lane 1. He'll go against Marshall Love, piloting the Texas Whips in lane 2. Both cars staged and ready. Marshall Love has him all the way to the finish line. He scorches out a 6.29 ET at 211.13 miles per hour. The second run promised to be a barn burner between Marvin Schwartz and John Tarzan Austin, until Schwartz lost fire at the start line. Austin turned the hot tuna loose on an easy solo run, then shut it down and coasted through the traps. No time recorded. The third run of the second round featured Charlie Mulder, the Atlanta, Georgia boy, in lane 1, against Mark Howick in lane 2. Mark has been running hot for the past 2 days and wants this one badly. Both drivers prepare very carefully. Lane 2 is hot, and so is Howick, as he posts an easy win with an ET of 7.28 to Mulder's 8.53. There he is, Big Daddy Don Garlits. He takes over lane 2. The Ohioan Pat Dakin, driving the Rupp Dakin Special, will start in lane 1. This is the last run of the second round. Dakin is a little tense. Garlits? Well, he's been here 1,000 times, and very cool. When Garlits has it all together, he's hot. He records a winning ET of 6.25 to put Pat Dakin on ovation as the funny cars come out for round 2. There's some tough machinery coming out of the pits, like this first pairing of Richard Tharp and Jake Crimmins in Ravel's Jungle Gym. The burnouts are sensational. Smoke cleared away, they found both the cars and the drivers, and then moved them onto the start line. Tharp did it. He burned Crimmins by 2/100ths of a second with an ET of 6.70, 211 miles per hour. Hey, now there's two wild ones on the start line. Shirl Greer's Unchained Lightning going in lane 2, and Dale Emery driving the Revell Snowman. This could be a battle right down to the wire. It was heads up to the halfway mark, then Shirl Greer gave the Mustang its head and streaked through the traps with a winning ET of 712, clocking a little over 196 miles per hour. That's Kenny Safford in Mr. Norm's Supercharger. He'll have lane 2, and in lane 1, it'll be Dale Paldy driving the Eastern Raider. Look out, Paldy blows an engine. The Raider is engulfed in flame, and he wins it. Dale Paldy's ET of 7.92 put Kenny Safford out of the meet. Dale is all right, and as soon as he got the car back to the pits, his crew began putting a new engine in for round 3. Everyone was waiting for this last runoff in round 2. Ray Beadle burned the Blue Max out in lane 2. He's got a large-sized problem in lane 1, though. It's Denny Savage in the Chi-Town Hustler. Two great drivers staging two of the hottest funny cars in the nation. The Blue Max makes round 3. Ray Beadle singed the Hustler by 5/100ths of a second to take the win. A fantastic side-by-side run all the way down the strip, and they had the crowd screaming. 30,000 fans endured thunderstorms, winds, and tornado threats to watch this meet. And when they announced the semifinals, the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. The pro stockers were first, and Roy Hill in the petty car faced Bob Glidden's 1975 Mustang. Identical ETs of 8.88, but Glidden's 152 was 2 miles an hour faster. The Mustang will go on to the finals. In the staging area now, it's Don Nicholson in his California Mustang. He'll pop the clutch against the New York boy, Richie Zool, driving a Chevy Camaro. Don in lane 1, Richie lane 2. Hard fought all the way, but Richie Zool takes the win with an ET of 9.03 at an even 150 miles per hour. Now the explosive power of the top fuelers fill the air as they fire them up in the staging area. 4 cars, 4 drivers, 2 runs for the semifinals. The first contest pits John Tarzan Austin against Mark Howick. Austin will go in lane 1, Howick lane 2. They ready their cars carefully before they bring them up to the line. Howick got a bad hole shot. As a result, got behind and never could recoup. John Austin fires the hot tuna through the traps with a winning ET of 6.58. The second run in top fueler semis featured a couple of dandies. Marshall Love staging the Texas Whips in lane 1, and on the pit side in lane 2, the Big Daddy himself, Don Garlits. Uh-oh, Love goes squarely off the line, and before he can regain control, crosses the center line. Don Garlits takes an easy win with an ET of 6.57, 211 miles per hour. Funny cars have a brand of excitement all their own, and when they came out for the semifinals, the crowd was up. Richard Tharp fired up Mike Burkhart's Plymouth Satellite first. He'll take lane 2. Shirl Greer's Unchained Lightning Mustang will fire out of lane 1. Tharp had trouble on the burnout. When his crew checked the car over, they found out he blew the rear end. That was all it took to put the Plymouth back on the trailer and give Shirl Greer the win in a solo run in lane 1. Here's the Eastern Raider, complete with a new engine. Dale Puldy blew the little Mustang in the quarterfinal runoff, and his crew did a super job of changing power plants. Now, he has just one worry left. In lane 2, a guy by the name of Ray Beadle, driving one of the fastest funny cars in the nation, the Blue Max. Beadle blows the doors off the Raider and puts the Blue Max through the traps with a winning ET of 6.72. As I mentioned earlier, due to heavy rains all morning, the start of today's events were delayed until 1 p.m. As a result, darkness prevented us from filming the final runs. In the Pro Stock category, Richie Zool squared off against Bob Glidden. Richie won it with an ET of 9.01 to Glidden's 9.02 for a very close finish. In Top Fuel, Don Garlits took on the Hot Tuna driven by John Tarzan Austin. Big Daddy ran away with it, scoring an ET of 6.85 to Austin's 7.14. Don also had the low ET of the meet with a 6.25. In the funny car finals, the battle was between Ray Beadle's Blue Max and Shirl Greer's Unchained Lightning. Shirl had a bad run, so the Blue Max took the win, clocking an ET of 6.58. Top funny car speed of the meet was 220 miles per hour, racked up by Denny Savage in the Chi-Town Hustler. The meet and the finals ended at 9:30 p.m. amidst a tired but still cheering crowd.